Good.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my packet.
Progress is good.
In case we were in.
Take two.
Good evening again, everybody. Welcome to the November 19th meeting of the Select Board. We are all present as our department heads and our town agents. I'm sorry, our town administrator. Town agent is not here. Begin with the approval of minutes from our last meeting.
And I did get some corrections.
Yeah, that's up to you.
Yep, so
I
that's-
mean, type it like.
yeah, no, good stuff. So I got those and I will make those changes in the morning.
Good motion.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
I will second that.
In favor, aye. Is there any public comment?
Well, I don't know if we want to bring this up underneath my department head, but I've asked Doug Plummer to come. We've continued the discussion about highway radios for safety and everyday use. So we can bring it up under my department head, or we could bring it up as public comment.
Oh, you want to stay, Doug?
Not very long.
Yeah.
Let's call it public comment,
Okay.
or this could be your report as well. You can segue after Doug.
Perfect, okay, so I invited Doug to come, he's done a lot of legwork and investigating on the radio frequencies and portable radios and licenses. Since our big state meeting that we did over at the Plainfield Fire Station. Rob and Eric have also been doing some investigative work on licensures, frequencies, the repeaters, and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna turn it over to Doug because he has brought in a proposal for us all to think about based on what he's found by talking to Rob at Wavecom, doing some investigative work, talking with Steve, Eric, and Rob.
I'm just gonna read off this, what I've written here for you, and you can make copies, pass them around, do that work. So my recommendation is to pursue putting the highway department on the old police frequency, reinstalling a repeater at the Hudson property, because that'll give the best coverage and will help it out. Little background to that, our current police frequency, I think everybody knows, our current police frequency, the old repeater was taken down because weren't using it anymore. Right now, the highway frequency was lapsed, so we don't own the highway frequency anymore. And so we're, in a sense, operating out of compliance with that. So Plainfield School is on that also. I'm not talking about Plainfield School tonight. This is just highway for right now. But we do still own the frequency pair for the repeater. So we had talked about possibly putting the repeater back on the air and getting that working for these guys so that they can talk crosstown without any problem. So my proposal would be to take the OP repeater and have that for townwide communications for the highway department. You take, a repeater has a pair of frequencies, it's got an input and an output. You take the input of that frequency also, or actually the output of the frequency, and that would become what they call talk around. So that if these guys are working face to face, doing traffic control, or the loader talking to the truck in the yard and things like that, they could use that frequency and talk to each other directly without trying to bounce it off the top of Black Hill and then back down again. So it will make it so they can hear it on both sides, but if they find they're not getting through, they might have to switch to channel 1 or channel 2 back and forth. That's the only part that's gonna take some training with it. And then channel 3 on it, I would put the Berry channel, which is the fire department's and police department uses it. It's our crosstown frequency, but that would give these guys that same ability. So if we had a night of storms or problems, it would give them the ability to talk to us on our frequency when we're at calls. I've discussed this with Rob at Wavecom. He feels it will work well. My understanding is we would be looking somewhere between $750 and $1,000 startup fee. Then we would need to go back to the $1,500 a year that we used to be paying to have the repeater for the town, for the highway department. So he would get everything set up. He's saying for his part of it, $750 to $1,000. I don't know if I've got it on here or not. We don't know if their radios are all the same. I haven't been able to see every one of Richie's radios. If there are Motorola radios involved with his stuff, Wavecom can't program them. So there would be an additional charge. Okay, so the Motorola's would have to be programmed by, maybe Tim from up at Hanover Dispatch can do it. And probably wouldn't charge much, but if it had to go back to Ossipee Mountain or someplace like that, there would be a charge from those guys. So I'll get to that at the end. The startup fee would be to install the repeater, a duplexer, and an antenna up at Hudson's property on Black Hill, as well as programming all the truck radios to the new setup. I've only seen a couple of radios, so I don't know exactly what they are. If they're not all Hytera, we might have to have programming done on by a different agency. Also, Rich has one truck without a radio in it. He's been waiting to figure out what's gonna happen with the radios before he buys one. I talked to Rob and he can get us a radio for about $400, and Richie says he can put it in and take care of the antenna and the radio for that. So the summary, reestablish the old police repeater and set up highway radios. Estimated cost, I'm saying $750 to $1,500, because if we bring in another agency, we're looking at about that. Purchase a new highway radio for the truck, for a truck one, about $400. And then the yearly contract after that would be $1,500 a year. So he would get us up and running, and then we would start paying that yearly contract of $1,500, which is what we paid for the original police repeater.
And so most of the infrastructure, or some of the infrastructure, is still up at Hudson's because PD uses it still, yes?
No,
Or fire uses it.
fire uses the Berry repeater, that's a separate repeater.
But it's at Hudson's and they charge us
It's at Hudson.
$1,500 for that one.
Right,
And we used to
So
pay $3,000 for both.
right, and this would go back to that 3,000.
And when Hanover made a change, PD went to that other frequency,
Right,
the PD said, we'll drop the Hudson piece. And
but at this point, we still own the pair as far as the SEC is concerned, we still own that frequency, so
And-
with that, they could use it and.
is it still a Tupperware is it still a Rubbermaid container with a radio in it?
Yeah,
Essentially,
yeah, it keeps the bugs out and keeps the dust out of it.
So you know where that location is now?
Oh, I know where it is. I've never been up to it.
Oh.
I know where Hudson's property is. I've been to
Oh,
Hudson. I asked Rob, I said, so what have you got? Have you got a rack mount or anything? He said, no, it's just in a box. So I'm assuming it's
I mean,
that.
it's just-
Rob at Wade.
it's just off to the
No,
side.
not your Rob.
When you get to the top of his driveway, it's just off to the side there. They put, at the time, it was, I think, Mark Horn and Paul Roberts put a lot of effort into getting that antenna up there. I think they did the work.
Yeah.
It's that kind of scale,
Right.
two guys could do it.
Yeah, it's
but-
not it's nothing elaborate. And there's no tower, things like that. It's just an antenna up there. But with this, so our Berry repeater, we can cross town very easily with it. There will still be places that won't reach, that's one of the troubles in Plainfield. We have lots of hills, lots of valleys. But, so there'll still be those places, but it's got pretty good coverage. When the police was using it full time, it really worked well.
So Doug, this may be an unreasonable question, but could you give us an idea of what percentage of the town would be covered if we go this route? Like 90%, 95?
I'm gonna have to say that, I would say 80 to 85%.
Okay,
I think there will still be areas, Route 120, before they start to go up Methodist Hill or down to the hole off of Croydon Turnpike, won't be well covered because you've got the other mountain on this side. So, but once they get up the hill a little bit, they can get it.
There was at one point talk about Elof Erickson's, a same thing being set up
Right,
up there.
and I talked to Rob at Wacom about that, and he said, no, Des Hudson's is a much better location. He said, you're gonna get much better coverage for right now.
Right, at one point, Paul was hot on having them in both
Right,
locations.
if you
but-
put a simulcast system in, so down the road, you can make it even better. You could, we can make it more elaborate, but I think to get started, at least to get these guys so they can talk to each other. Right now, they can't even talk to each other.
Right.
So
We're
being
going
able to
from
get it set
0
up.
to 85%,
Yeah.
which is huge.
That's huge.
So I just didn't want to call another emergency management team meeting. We're all here together and I love his expertise on all of this and his knowledge. So I wanted to bring it to you. I know budget season's coming up. This is an important infrastructure situation for highway and for emergency management. So Doug did nicely type this up, so we would like to give this to the select board for consideration.
I don't know how nicely typed up it is. It was, I don't have a computer anymore like I used to, so I did it on an iPad and found a program that I could put it in on, so.
Eric, do you have anything to share about this?
Radios?
Yeah.
No?
Okay, now Sergeant Rob had said that there's extra portables that you guys have that we may be able to also program so that these guys would have portable radios, like what I carry in my car, so that they wouldn't have to be using their cell phones and that
Have
kind of
to evaluate about batteries, if they're stiing available and whatnot. and stuff
Okay.
like that, But they all are Motorola.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So that would be another resource that we do have in the back closet.
But we would have to program them especially
To match the,
if they're the
In the
Motorola's.
truck, that's, yeah,
Keep in mind, and then, so that would
There's
be
a
an
fee
additional cost. 'cause they have
there's a
more
fee
frequency.
right.
associated with it.
Tim, up at Hanover Dispatch, does all the fire programming, I think he does police programming, he might do this for us, I don't know what he charges for it, but it's. I
Pumpkin
can't
pie?
believe it's- he-
a pumpkin pie, yeah, apple
Maybe.
pie.
Maybe, he's, you know,
Yeah, but it seems sort of essential.
Yeah.
it works. Now, keep in mind, you're talking, when you start talking a portable radio, you're talking 5 watts, it's 45 to 50 watts with the mobile radios. So there is a difference in power, the walkie-talkies might not necessarily hit the
Right.
tower where the
Yeah.
mobile radio would, a lot of times you gotta walk to the truck to get it,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah,
for
because
other
it's not
things-
repeaters under the seat like the cruisers
Right.
have.
But for, you know, for you guys working highway, for working traffic control or trying to do things where you've gotta have a couple of walkie-talkies, they'll be great. Cause you can go on the direct frequency with them too. Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you for your consideration.
We
Yes.
established that we are behind this in terms of the concept of better radio communication within the town. Do we need a vote for money at this point, or is this? coming-
based on the conversation, I'll make sure it's in the budget, that there's funds available to, and I'll take Doug's proposal and get it in the budget book, and then we'll.
Here, I've got one more, Steve, if you guys want.
You know, that's good, Doug, yeah, this will work, thank you.
Do you,
Thank
do you need to show, do you want these, search results for the expiration of the frequencies and stuff, or do you have that?
I don't know that I have it, but you can give it to me if you wanna be free of it.
Yeah, well, no,
The-
Rob DiPietro did that research for licenses
Right.
and that kind of thing. And the frequency that we were talking about was expired in 21.
Yeah, research it, it's like a 2-year grace period, so it'll be on the grace
So
period.
we're,
Well beyond, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's what Rob had Wavecom said. Before the government shut down, he was able to check and see and found out we were
yeah,
way.
That
up
was
compliance, but-
You know, Paul was a dispatch guy,
Right.
he was into that stuff, and obviously that thread's gotten
And
long.
again, you know, playing with these frequencies, we could get the school back on the air too. I'm not working with that right now, but I can help you guys work with that. I mean, you probably wouldn't want them on the same one as highway, but you
No.
might be able, no, so we might be able to come up with some other plan.
Well, I know the
Maybe
school
this-
is talking about with their new grant coming in, that they're going to be getting new radio, so I don't know what they plan on doing with
Okay,
that, so.
so we don't even know what they're getting for radios, so.
Right.
Maybe they're gonna buy UHF, and in which case they can't talk to us at all, so that'll
well,
That
that-
might be
that'll
worth
take care of that.
mentioning to them that we are headed in this direction, just
Yeah.
in case there's some coordination that
Yeah.
like might have been good, maybe it
Yeah,
doesn't
because
matter
if
at
they go out
all.
and buy UHF radios, then they're not,
They don't matter.
then they can't talk to us at all.
Yeah,
That-
so if they want to, they should know that they need to.
They've got a full-time IT guy, Corey, I've chatted with him
You saw him,
about
met him
that.
last night or something.
Yeah, so, definitely, I'm sure that if nothing else, they'd be happy to have a conversation.
And if they're like, no, we're gonna go with something else,
And if
that's
I can
fine,
help,
but
give you,
it's
you know,
for them to find out
if
later.
anything, you guys, you know, if I can help with anything, give me a holler. When you're ready to start this, let me know, give me a little notice. I'll try to get Rob lined up so we can start getting stuff switched over for these guys.
Is there
We're
a
gonna, it's
fee,
gonna be tough on
I'm
them.
sorry,
No, it's okay.
there's a fee associated with maintaining the possession of the frequency?
Yeah, there's a license fee, but it's not very much. It's a couple $100, I think,
Yeah, we
every
paid
every
100
5 or 10
We
years.
paid $120
It might be on that paper.
for
Okay.
one.
The other question that I would have for you is, I want to remember when we had that big meeting, that frequencies were few and far between now to get. Does that make them any more expensive to,
No, it's just the frequency spectrum is full, so trying to get in, to get a license on a frequency can be, to get a new frequency as well.
okay,
But that said, we've got the Berry channel, which is also two channels. We could always put the school on one of those frequencies and have it on a different PL, so that it shouldn't bother fire. And if there was a fire and we needed the Berry frequency to talk, we could tell them, hey, you guys need to stop talking for a while so we can get through this.
that's down the road,
So that's down the road.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work on that.
No, Happy to
Oh
help.
my gosh, thank you.
His knowledge is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's-
It really isn't, but.
It is, because you're talking foreign to us, I mean, it's me, frequencies. But
no.
anyway.
Doug Plummer had a ham radio on his bicycle in 1970
Love
or
it.
80 something. Long, you could still talk about it.
Doug Plummer's truck with all the radio equipment is in Colebrook, buried in the garage right now.
Oh, no.
I got run into up at camp,
Yeah.
totaled it, or
Lucky
then
he's
damn
here
sure it's
tonight.
totaled yet,
No.
so, yeah.
Sorry.
Sunday afternoon, so I'm not sure if it's totaled yet or not, so
Oh.
the old W1KUA Black Ford may be gone, but I don't
Oh,
know.
no.
How do you get hit at camp and there's no traffic up there, Doug?
There was on a bad corner and going too fast in the snow.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Kid hit me right in, T-boned me
Oh,
last week, so.
Well,
If
thank
I
you for
remember-
the rest.
We don't want to diverge, go too far, but didn't your brother have a very bad accident in the college grant?
You have a bad little grant.
We got hit by a Dartmouth College van or something? I remember.
Kids, yeah, same idea.
wow.
Yahoo,
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and Susan.
thank you.
Thank
Call if you guys need anything.
Well, you're getting around with no apparatuses. Good for you.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
The
out of
apparatus
his
is inside.
wheelhouse.
Knees and hips and all that.
Knees and hips, and the apparatus inside is a little sore right now from weekend.
That's all right.
All right,
Bye.
thank you.
Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.
You also,
Before we move into reports, is there any more public comment?
Yeah, sorry, I was delayed. I do have, okay, and I sent it to, Steve, right before coming. The vulnerable members of our Plainfield community are at the mercy of the selectmen and school board who were voted in by the mere minority of less than 250 people who attend the annual town meeting. Voter apathy and other reasons have reduced community participation. Regular monthly meetings in person or via Zoom have minimal engagement. The lack of attendance engagement are becoming alarming. Increasing the audience turnout is possible and should become a 2026 goal to reach. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Voter participation numbers are indeed dismal. Some voters still do not show up for their civic duties, even when the outcomes have a tremendous effect on their personal budget. What have the selectmen, school board or others done to get people out to vote? This matter, encouraging citizens to vote, should be carefully considered through a campaign to increase involvement to achieve maximum participation. Leadership has never been proactive to change in order to safeguard our residents. Voters place their trust in these town guardians who continually have to let the taxpayer down. Forgot to put half. It is time to restate the power of the people back into our voted officials who are not listening or considering resident needs. Decision-making needs ultimate transparency and to be evidence-based. Do not let another travesty occur as last year with selectmen not including the voters in the process as they decided the voters would not be part of their decision to increase the budget by $130,000, a substantial amount to increase our taxes. Let it begin with a complete breakdown of every single item within the budget. Let it be clear and concise for everyone to understand. The accuracy of these figures will reveal whether we're on the right track or not. It will guide us to budget our personal expenses in order to be prepared. How do we get voters back? SB2 or Australian ballot enables everyone to have a say in their town affairs. I plan to knock on most of my neighbors' doors to inform them about the March 14th combined annual school board and town meeting, which is scheduled to start at 9 o'clock. That's based on yesterday. I look forward to meeting and reconnecting with friends. They will get advance notice to be there. I hope everyone's efforts will bring out as many people out to share in their civic duty. How will selectmen make this become an annual, I should have put that in, celebration for all to enjoy? How can each resident become involved in the process? Who else can join us to get the word out to our community? The town administrator proposed that the annual report be mainly an online accessible manual for all who have internet at home or who can use the local library facilities. It would be a cost-saving effort to lower the printing expense and mailing costs. This historical booklet costs under $10 and numerous have been found at the post office recycling bin immediately after its mailing. Copies would be available at the town meeting or mailed to resident by request. Most will agree to this proposal. I feel this change is an opportunity to provide greater transparency for Plainfield's tentative expenses that require voter approval. I have thoroughly reviewed the 2024 town report as well as Enfield's award-winning annual report. The difference is quite apparent. Plainfield's documentation is minimal as it tries to follow the guidelines. Enfield's contains additional information such as the schedule of our town real property, MS1, MS737, MS535, MS61, MS9 state reports submitted, New Hampshire state rate breakdown report, a consolidated statement of financial position, capital improvement program, tax state history from 2018 to present, tax exempt properties, 5-year property evaluation history, revenue report, appropriations, expenditure reports, funds held by the treasurer, certificates of deposits, town clerk's report, library treasurer's report, capital reserve funds, expendable trust funds, reports from all committees, and so much more information readily available at our fingertips. The annual report would demonstrate our town's financial foundation and growth possibility. It would serve as a tool for the school board's marketing efforts to attract home buyers and families to Plainfield. Newcomers hesitate in investing in a town with shaky or unstable governance and leadership. It would show that Plainfield is or can be a long-term safe investment because of residents' committed approach to fiscal responsibility. No one wants to live in a town that does not care about their homeowners or businesses due to heavy cost burdens placed by incompetent, inept, and reactive administration. Not just because our residents are not showing up for different town meetings, the selectmen and the school board must make every effort to disperse this information in multiple ways to maintain total transparency.
Yeah, please do.
I agree with some of what you
Right.
said. Some of it was pejorative and inflammatory. We would love to have greater attendance. I'm glad you're gonna go to door with your neighbors.
Yeah, I
right
do.
now.
December 1st.
We have all
Do.
done that kind of thing. Obviously, it's on the town website. We have, in my 12 years here, if I remember right, at times sent out mailings, postcards to drum up interest. The fact is, in a democracy, whether we're talking about a town level, state level, or US level, there isn't the level of participation that we would like to have. So anything that you can do to enhance that, we try to make it into a celebratory, as you asked, as you suggested. There's food at the meetings, that we provide babysitting. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to care enough about being a citizen to participate. So we have done what we can and will continue to do that.
I think one of the other things too that has happened is select board members and finance committee members, and even Steve has come to the March luncheon to talk about what's going to be on the agenda. And we always say, if anybody needs a ride, I go and pick up anybody from the senior population that needs to come. So I know that interaction and communication happens, and it's much appreciated.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, I don't agree with your characterization of some of that, but I do agree that we love to have people participate 100%. We're the people who are showing up, right? Like, we're not doing this for any reason other than we love our community, right? I mean, I'm not getting a whole lot else out of this, except somebody has to come and do it. And so we do. So I agree with that. I also, I'd be happy to take a look at the Enfield Town Report, as I'm sure Steve would. Like, we're not trying to make the town report hide anything. I mean, it's actually pretty darn out there. Our meetings are now available on YouTube. Anybody can watch them. Like, we would love to fill these seats with people who are just interested in hearing and participating, but that's not what happens. So if Enfield's got some neat things in their town report, we'll take a look. There's no reason not to, but yeah.
So, yeah, I would love this room to be full.
Right?
I would love to say, I'm sorry, you are gonna have to stand. Specifically, I would like to address the the comment about raising the budget by $130,000. Granted, there's a specific staff position that, you know, monetary and benefits comes out to about that. But I think that what's being overlooked is that most of that was already being budgeted on a yearly basis for a long-established position, so it wasn't a new expense for the town. And the other part of that is that a previously volunteer organization was being translated into a town organization or department, which required the town to have a staff member answerable to the town to take care of that, because I don't know anything about water departments. So having said that, I don't know that that specifically was an increase. And I have to say that considering what I was going to share in public comments tonight was my overwhelming pride with the amount of volunteerism that happens in this town. And so much of what happens for our government in this town is taken care of by volunteers. A lot of people don't get paid, and those people are showing up. And I would be so happy if more people showed up. But it's not like we can force people to have civic duty as their forefront thought. So I don't think that that makes us bad people.
Any other
Yes.
public comment?
When she mentioned that this position has been ongoing, Atwater's name was never mentioned as a staff employee. No salary was there. You know how in the town report, they have.
Maria,
all the
I
staff
don't
employees.
think you're gonna tell us
It's
anything you
never-
haven't
it's
told us
never-
about that before.
Yeah, but
We've
it's
had
never
that
been
discussion
listed.
with
It
them.
was a permanent, position, part-time or otherwise.
We're simply
It would
gonna
have been
disagree
listed.
on that. We're
Yeah, but look
disagreeing.
at the 2024
I'm
report.
We're
Is
gonna,
his name
we're gonna
listed?
end this discussion regarding
But she's
this
the one
now.
that brought it up.
That's right, and she said what she said.
Yeah,
What you
and
said,
I'm
you've already said.
contradicting it because
Right,
if
we
he
know that.
had been an employee, his name would have been listed
One
with all
reason,
the other employees. And it
I'm not
was
sure how many people would wanna come out and sit through this.
sit through what?
Sit through listening to kind of carping
Well,
and
I'm
what they might see
correcting
as
her
not
because-
productive.
Show me in the 2024 where his name is listed as an employee
We're moving on
for
from
3
that,
years.
not
Well,
doing
she
it.
brought it up and I'm just letting
Okay.
you know
No.
that it was incorrect.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did not specifically name a name because there was not specifically a name.
You were. we
Was
were talking
treated
about
as a
130,000.
subcontractor.
It's clear you have an axe to grind.
It's tough.
Okay, you
No.
can speak about it every week, but we're finished with that aspect of it right now.
I'm sorry, Ren.
It's all right, thank you. Other public comment from anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to department reports. Does anybody have a desire or a need to go first? You care what order we go in?
Don't matter.
Okay. Chief?
So far this month, we've had 8 motor vehicle accidents, already. The common themes are speed, curves, and wet roadways and deer, if and when they are there.
Hmm.
So we continue to have an increase in car versus deer accidents, even when a deer is not involved. The operator claims they swerved to miss a mysterious deer in the road instead of owning up to their inability to follow the laws of the road. Please stop blaming innocent deer, please. We strongly encourage motorists to slow down during dusk and dawn hours. If a deer does run out in front of your vehicle, it's best to continue to go straight. Do not swerve to avoid the deer, as it could cause the operator to lose control of their vehicle and cause more damage as a result. Because of hunting season's been going on, we've gotten complaints from citizens about possibly hunters shooting your roads and houses. We encourage residents that enjoy hiking and walking in the woods to wear blaze orange or bright colored clothing this time of year due to the hunting. It's always safe. For our community events for this month so far, we assisted with the food pantry on November 8th and 15th. We attended coffee cart at the elementary school on November 13th, where we talked with staff and students. We attended the community senior luncheon that was held at Plainfield Elementary School on November 13th. And I supplied all of you with a traffic safety proposal. I don't know how you want me to go over this, but
I really like the new traffic signs. The speed limit.
so we've been getting a lot of complaints speeding on residential roads. The scope of the problem is, you know, several roads throughout town don't have adequate signage, posted speed limits and whatnot. Some of the specific areas of concern are Chalice Road, Daniels Road, Main Street, Bonner, River, Ladue, Willowbrook, Croydon Turnpike, Whitaker Road, Upper Hill Road. And there's probably more roads that'll be coming down the line. We would like to address this will actually assist in slowing down traffic, slowing down the wear and tear and erosion on the roads, which would prevent having to grade the roads. If we reduce the speed limit from 35 to 25 on the dirt roads, which at the end of this, you'll see there's an RSA that gives the power to the town to do that. Because the DOT sets a statutory limit of 35 on any road that's not posted by the town or the state or the town.
So you're gonna change Willowbrook Road to 25?
No, we're not saying Willowbrook. We're not saying that. We're talking like,
The dirt roads.
the dirt roads.
Whatever. And when it's not, I was
One of the things I've learned about with Chalice Road, I guess it was supposed to be a road where they had talked about putting a gate.
Go ahead, but I read it already. It's interesting when you said that.
Steve included it in our.
Yeah, so we already read this, so
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, but no, for the public, I think it's great, but sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I thought that was interesting though.
It's not right. I was made aware that Chalice Road was supposed to be a no cut through with an agreement with KUA. And the talk was putting a gate there, but the gate would not allow for proper plowing and a safety hazard when first responders need to respond. Got a lot of complaints from residents on Chalice Road that students are cutting through there or whatever. We'd like to put signage on there to say, no through trucks or no through traffic to KUA that forces them to go around. Chalice Road is a dirt road, that's windy. There's not much signage. We like to make sure that just posted speed limit signs there, as well as possible curve signs. We've dealt with an accident after the curve recently. Daniels Road, we put out the speed trailer out there. Because we had a resident come in and complain that her dog was struck and killed out there, and the individual didn't stop to notify. They just kept going. It's where the bridge comes narrow to a one-lane bridge. I think that it's best interest of the town to have no through truck traffic on Daniels Road. Over the simple fact it'll reduce wear and tear on the bridge from heavy trucks. It was my understanding that in the past there was no through truck traffic, but the powers that be changed that.
Well,
Don't know.
it's interesting, I'm not sure. In our experience with those signs, we never saw them as enforcement signs, just suggested signs. Are you saying that you can ticket?
No
trucks
through
for-
truck traffic, absolutely. For no through truck traffic, unless they have a destination on that road, they have no business going through there.
I mean, well, and that's good, if there's gonna be a sign, it should be enforceable. When we had the Daniels Road one, at the time, we had a board of selectmen that was made up of people who had big trucks. And they felt very bad, they felt like we pay our registration fees, we have a right to use roads. And so it is true, Rich and I both remember that Daniels Road was posted no through trucks, but I think at the time, we didn't see it as a ticketable thing, we saw it as a suggestion. Hope you don't go there, because we don't want you to have your truck there. But those are. I think that's a hotter issue, my guess is, no truck traffic, that will bring some locals to meetings. Speed, probably not, right? I mean, if you guys down, I was reading the statute, it doesn't look like you even have to have a hearing. Selectmen can, which is a sea change. It used to be you had to do the study, and then you had to practically ask the governor for permission to change the speed limit. Gordon Gillens never wanted to get involved, just said, too expensive, we won't do it. we put some signs up again to try to slow people down. But if we can actually enforce those 25-mile limit speed signs by decree of the selectmen, a letter in the town clerk's files that say these roads are now posted 25, that will be good. I think that would go, I mean, we put a bunch of signs up in the villages to try to be 25. I think the no through truck traffic's a good idea. Past experience suggests that will get you some folks. People will be interested in that subject because the guys who are paying for those trucks get very protective of where they can drive.
Is there a weight restriction on that bridge? And you've replaced that bridge since I moved to town, so.
On Daniels?
Yes.
It's an E2.
Yeah, I think it's an E2.
That's
Although it's getting older than it was, because it's been there a bunch of years now, but I think
We
all good
opted not- We
ideas.
opted not to build that covered bridge there.
Right, we did lose on that one. That'll be in the book. It'll be a
It's not
chapter.
about the convenience of the motoring public. We have a duty to protect the safety of our residents, and that's a windy, narrow road with blind corners,
Mhm.
and there's farming on that road. It's not necessary to have big trucks going in through there
Yeah,
as a
but-
shortcut.
And
to
they're
get
not
off the
saving a
state
lot
road.
of time by
Yeah,
out
did
there.
Rob say
No,
that
we
last
do
week?
have,
It's like 100 feet or something like that?
you know, Chalice Road is certainly the road. I mean, for whatever reason, and, you know, Trevor's bought his dad's house or his grandfather's house, and Jeff has lived there for years, and Trevor was in here today. We're looking for the police, because and this is Trevor, who, you know, I suspect has had that Dodge Ram up to over 25 once or twice in his young years. He's very upset about the speeds on Chalice. And I think it's notable that the accident that you referred to, Eric, was a kid who had nothing to do with Kimball Union and was just a local kid, didn't even need to be on that road,
Yeah.
just chose to be on that road. You are gonna see in the next year Kimball Union coming forward to the planning board for a pretty major athletic facility project. And that will, because of work that Chief Elder will be involved in, access onto Chalice for emergency traffic will be a huge part of that. Because you'll have all that one parking lot servicing the athletic facility, the art center, and the hockey rink, and the dining hall, the student center. And so that's where all their traffic is, and if Doug Plummer were here, he and I would nod our heads. There's a site plan review that says you will not go out onto Chalice, and it was because of the house that Todd Godfrey owns on Chalice.
Yeah.
Alton Barnes lived there, and it was driving him crazy, the kids. And KUA did have it chained for a while, the chain went down and nobody cared, and all moved along, and things were different. But it's gonna be a huge issue, because Campus Center Walk Road even widened. I don't think emergency service folks would be happy to have only one way in and out. You know, I think KUA is gonna make a bigger road onto Chalice, not a smaller road. And so I think Chalice will be in play for a while, but absolutely, we're getting a ton of complaints about Chalice. And you can't put a cruiser on Chalice Road and sit there for hours, because there's not that much traffic.
We've done randomly in the morning during,
But their time period's pretty good.
school community.
Yeah, I mean, you can
We've sat
physically
there,
do it,
yeah.
I'm just saying it's not a crazy busy road, I
Right.
mean, it just isn't. And it's, but right now, the default speed limit to give a kid a ticket or an adult a ticket is 35, you'd have to be doing 45, right, 45 or 50.
Depends on how stickler you wanna be.
Right, but 35 is the speed limit right
Right.
now on Chalice, you are
And how
legal if
often
you're
you
not.
catching the same person?
Change it to 25.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in discussion right now, my proposal.
I mean, do you wanna have? I mean, as part of our, we can post the proposal. Get some publicity about it and have a public hearing.
Could do a public hearing, we could, depending on it, I mean, some of these things you can do, and obviously you put a lot of work into and thought into it. Some of it can be implemented now, obviously. The other ones, we could do what you said, time was not a big issue, we could survey people at town meeting, we could discuss it at town meeting.
My guess is wide support for 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Anywhere I mean,
Yeah.
if you enter the town of Windsor from any direction and it says everything here is 25 and we mean it.
The city of Lebanon is, unless it's
Right.
posted.
Yep, that's right, that's right.
Are we suggesting that we would be doing that coming into Plainfield Village on 12A, because right now it's 30.
I can't do that one.
We, 12A and 120 is the DOT, so that we have no control over that.
Oh, that's too bad.
But I do plan to meet with DOT to discuss some of the signage that they have on 120 and 12A and see what we can do about 120 with the 50 mile an hour going to 35. It's
Yeah.
just so sporadic.
Mm.
Eric, you want to move more quickly than town meeting? You want to, advertise a public hearing on this?
Again.
Get
Just,
to meet more,
huh?
get to meet more of the community.
Well, I mean, you're always insulated by a public hearing. People may choose not to come, as we've said. I mean, they can read it, they can decide. I would think that the residents in the two villages will be very supportive. I mean, they have been. I mean, we put signs up in Plainfield Village, everything over there essentially 25. And so I think homeowners will like 25 a lot on any of the roads. Nobody's gonna object to that. And it still means cars are gonna go 30, right? 30, I mean, then you just do 25 on Bonner Road during a school morning. You have to think about it. You have to be on it. So, you know, you pay attention. Cars don't wanna go 25 anymore.
You ever go to the Montshire Museum, the speed limit there is 18, which is, I thought.
That is beautiful.
You do think about.
Right,
that.
right, it changes,
Yeah.
it,
You know, I think for me, I don't think we need to have the whole thing as a public hearing, things like adding signs where we're not changing the sign, changing the speed. That feels like it doesn't need to wait. I don't know how much a sign costs. I'm guessing it's not as cheap as we would like it to be. But I mean, I know I've been driving places and I think, boy, I wish I knew it, you know, like. I hope it's still the speed limit here. Like, you know, I think I'm going what I think, you know, like it's not.
That's.
There could be a few more signs up, or I'll put my GPS on, because that will tell me the speed limit, what it's supposed to be, even though I know where I'm going. Anyway, so I think something like that, so anything we're not changing except for adding signs, I think you
Right.
could do right away.
Because we're talking about utilizing wooden stakes with orange ribbon to put them where we feel that they should be.
Yeah.
And then Richie would come and put the signs where, so they're appropriately spaced where we feel it would make
Mhm.
a difference.
But changing, you know, the limit or,
The no
The
through
trucks,
trucks, is
no
that
through
something that
trucks.
has to go to?
I would advise it.
yeah,
Based on
and that's
past
fine.
experiences. No, I mean, it's
Go to a
okay,
public
and,
hearing.
and if no one shows up, you
Then
can
we
say
can
I
say we
had
had
a
a
hearing.
hearing.
And if, you know, if Kevin McNamara, Ken Rainey and all that crew show up, you fill the seats.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear their perspective, you
Right.
know, they can explain to me why
Yeah.
the safety.
I have a question about that. If there's an emergency, can fire trucks go through that? If they need to, they can cut.
Emergency vehicles are exempt as well as plows.
Okay.
You
Well,
also, through the trucks,
yeah,
you also say if someone's getting a delivery,
Right.
right, like
Yeah,
there's something on the
right.
road. it's-
It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
they
law.
never
Station on the road.
Yeah.
Crash, get your fuel,
Sure,
Yeah,
that all's exempt from it.
right.
But if you got people that are hauling gravel or asphalt just to
Cut
get a
out,
shortcut, that's not necessary.
All right, let's do that. Any other discussion here? Okay. Thank you.
thanks for all this work.
Brad?
It's been real busy, so we'll have to take it out. So under facilities, Primex, our insurer called last week and asked to go through town buildings to update their files. So yesterday I went through each of the buildings with their rep, took some updated pictures, told them about things that had changed in the last. I was actually around in 16 when the last, or 19, when they were doing it the last time. And so that'll just tells them more about our facilities and the risk associated with them, and in theory, trickles down into what our group pays for insurance. This coming Friday, I've got a walkthrough with Hampshire Fire as part of an RFP for an annual check and service agreement. We're looking for somebody to keep an eye on our emergency lighting, because we found a little hole in our procedure. Everybody thought Mike Kopp was testing all our emergency lighting at the same time that he was testing all of our buildings, and turns out he's just been testing Philip Reed. And so we've got some buildings that need to get caught up on checks, and I made an initial round and was able to verify that most of our lights are in fact working. There are several that are out that need batteries. But At this point, we had gotten one number from Vermont Life Safety to do that back in the spring when we were talking about other work. And so we wanted to reach out to at least one other vendor and possibly two, to get numbers so that we can get them. Hampshire Fire does our fire extinguishers, and so every year, similar thing, building to building, every extinguisher gets checked. They have a certain cycle that they have to be replenished or reserviced on, and so they keep track of that. That's what they do as a business.
And that's something that's required of the schools, so the schools
Right.
do that, have to do it annually, but somehow the town hasn't been doing that at all.
Right, and the library, I think, is required, or at least they were more aware of it, because Mary used to call me every year, and I would show up for these annual inspections for the elevator and the fire, and we did in fact test all of the emergency lighting, so I knew that was happening in those facilities. Anyway, so that's happening, and at some point, we will bring forward a proposal for an expenditure that becomes an annual service agreement. Bunch of little miscellaneous repairs at different buildings. We replaced a lab faucet at the Plainfield Town Hall, motion light spots on the back end of Philip Reed, door hinges at the Meriden Library. On Philip Reed, we've got parking lot pole lights out in the parking lot. They are out, and the bulbs are somewhat still available, but the fixture, we had one snap when it got hit this spring. I was initially told that there weren't any replacements of that product available. I've since chased down through another thread, the same company or a subsidiary. Anyway, we're getting a quote, hopefully in the next day or two, for replacing the heads, which would be great, to not have to replace the entire pole, because that's fairly costly. And I think we can fix the pole that got whacked by using the leveling adjustments, but the new heads will be LEDs. And so again, hopefully it's a move in a direction we wanted to go anyway, just forced because of obsolescence. Highway roof RFP is out, and I've got a first walkthrough scheduled on Friday with Twin State Standing Seam. And I've got a couple of other vendors that I'm trying to connect with to get other numbers as well, trying to get firm proposals in time to put it into the budget as a project for next year. Also at Highway, we selected Mill Hollow Plumbing and Heating to do installation of the heat pumps or reinstallation of the heat pumps that were salvaged off of the Meriden Library. Units will go into the mezzanine, break room, and Richie's office. And so they'll provide heating this winter. There's already heat there, but most importantly is they'll provide cooling next summer. And so that'll be an improvement for their comfort. Under the water department, we had a positive test for total chloroform and our regular monthly testing. Coliform, yes, sorry, the other one, puts you to sleep. Coliform, yeah, anyway. Normal procedures, you do a retest at expanded number of sites. We did that, they all came back negative. So hard to know exactly what the source of the positive test result, but Maura's gonna make sure she's extra careful with her sterile technique next time and just try and do everything right by the book, and hopefully that was just an unusual occurrence that won't get repeated. We also had our Q2 arsenic sample was high, but we didn't have to do anything about it because it's based on a running average of a 4-month running average. Our Q3 sample came back lower than Q2, but still not low enough to bring it back down. So we've got 30 days to put a notice out. It's not an emergency. Some people over a long period of time might have a negative effect on this, but we're already treating that water. We have 2 wells, and historically we've only had to treat one for arsenic. The other one, for whatever reason, didn't have to be treated. Now we're treating both. So we really didn't have to do anything except change our in-house procedure to make this change. It's yet another indication that our water and our wells we have some questions. The general sense is they're starting to run dirtier. We're picking up more fines, we're putting more, the filters are not lasting as long. We treat with chlorine to precipitate out iron and manganese, and that's happening faster, and we're burning through more chlorine, and so all of that tells us that at 22 or 24 years old, our wells are just starting to get dirtier. That's apparently not uncommon, and we're in the process. There is a procedure out there called surging and some chemical treatment. We had a guy lined up, strung me along all summer saying, yeah, I'll get your proposal and we'll fit you in. And then last week he said, no, we can't get to it. So I was a little annoyed at that because I had been told he was a good guy to use and less expensive than some others, and now perhaps we know why. I've been in touch with Cushing and Sons, a larger organization. I have to give them the same data that I had to dig up for this other guy, Barry Miller, and so we're in the process of getting quotes for that. That's gonna be depending on what they make of their numbers. He floated numbers up to $25,000 for this process for the $2. And so we obviously want to be very careful about the likelihood of success out of this. The hope is that the chemical treatment breaks down things that have built up in the neighborhood of the screen of the well and increases our flow potential. And then also because they surge and basically back pressure and then suck out and more aggressively, they sort of stir up a bunch of fines and maybe give us more production. Initially, our wells were producing up to 28 gallons a minute. Now 17, 18, occasionally 20, but not on a regular basis. So we're, again, all the signs are just saying we've got some stuff building up. We happen to have just in this last week, so the arsenic thing, we send a notice out, that'll go out next week. We then send a notice to the state certifying we've notified everybody and we're good, and we just go about our regular monthly testing, our quarterly testing for the arsenic. And again, we're hoping that we've been able to treat the other well all along, and we hope that we will be able to treat this well. And the worst case is we go through media more often, and the media change is a $2,000 a hit thing that usually buys us a couple of years. And so if you double that, half your life, now you're doing that every year or something. But there's some other things in the work that make us think we may not have to. So that's,
Excuse me,
yes,
before you get off that,
yep.
I'm gonna call it debris in the water.
Yes.
That you were talking about sucking.
Mhm.
Is there any possibility that it's because of the drought that we experienced this summer that's exacerbating that issue? Or can we reasonably think that it's just the environment of the well itself that is causing an increased?
So it's an interesting thing, we think we know a lot about aquifers and hydrology and stuff, but in the end, it's a black box down there. You can't
Mhm.
see what's happening really. You can infer by what you think. So that was the very question that I had back in the spring when Maura and I were looking at the burn rate on our filters. We seem to be using filters more often. And in fact, we had gone from 11, 12 days between filter changes down to at that point 9 or 10 days. And so could have been nothing, could have been something. I had Granite State Rural Water come up and we did a little flow test on each of the wells. So we take the cap off, put a sensor on it that measures height, run the pump, watch the rate at which the static well, it drops as you are pumping. And then at some point you keep pumping and it fills in at a certain, it's called pumping static level.
Mhm.
And we had some of that data from when the wells were originally done, which is in 2005, so 20 years ago. At that point, so we did that one, it was a sample, at a point in time, the two wells behaved this way. We noticed at that point, the two wells actually influence one another. So when you pump from one, the static level on the other dropped a couple of feet. Our wells are 88 feet deep, static levels at 26, something like that. And then when pumping static is another 30 feet or something like that below that. So it drops 30 feet and then sort of plateaus. So we did that in the spring, compared it to the 20-year-old data, didn't look that different. In the middle of summer, Bill at the Meriden issued a warning about drought. Because we have 132,000 gallon tank and our population doesn't vary the way Bill's does in the summer and, when students leave. So we've been pretty solidly at the same level of consumption for quite a while. But that doesn't tell us for sure whether our aquifer is dropping.
Okay.
So triggered by Bill's notice, I did another test. Granite State Raw Water came out, same sensors, and we did it again. The difference between the performance was a couple of feet. So at the time we started, the non-pumping static level, the water table level, was about 2 to 3 feet lower in each well than it was in the spring. I don't know, because we haven't got enough of these test point data points. I don't know whether that's a normal annual cycle or an extraordinarily, wildly different event. And so all I can do is tell you, getting sensors in the well is becoming a more of a priority. It's probably a $5,000 to $7,000 cost. And so I'm looking for money for that. But it's something that it feels like we should have. Bill has them in his wells. It was what told him he needed to watch and be careful. And so, again, just looking ahead and saying, yes, we have this flywheel of a great big tank that buys us about a week of no pumping. We don't want to risk having something happen that we are not aware of. So that's one thing. So the next thing is, we have continued to watch the filter change increase this cycle. And so we have been pursuing this conditioning process. And also that raised a bunch of questions about what do we know about the design of our system. And there are sustainability, water system sustainability grants available. And we were encouraged in our annual sanitary survey to look into that, to see if we could get, it's a state pile of money, and it's targeted at this exact thing. Understanding what you've got, are you doing the treatment properly? Is technology offering you new options? So I had applied for that grant. We just found out this week that we received that grant. It's a 2-to-1, they call it a 50% match, but basically for every $2 they spend, we have to kick in $1. I've got an engineering proposal from Dufresne, which is the group that did the original design of our system. And the project is to look at what are we starting with for water quality and quantity? How are we treating it for the distribution that we've got, for the volume that we produce? Are we treating it economically and efficiently? And that design study has just been approved. It has to get signed by governor and council, and that can take months. But in the meantime, I called the engineering group yesterday and said, DES has approved us. It's likely we'll get the grant. We have to wait for signatures, but if there's anything we can do in the meantime, let's do it. Because it was on top of testing stuff, the filter burn and all of that just feels like we could be having an issue and not be aware of it. And there are probably things we could do differently in our treatment plant that would just be more efficient. So that's moving ahead. Also, I've started drafting a scope of work for a CDFA loan that we've been swapping meters because many of them are 50-year-old original equipment. So we just finished the first 40, which we had targeted for this year, and the plumber said he had time and the money is sitting in the reserve fund. And so we bought into another 40, and we are now starting those installations and hope to finish them by the end of the year, if not soon into the next year. So that'll get us far higher comfort level of knowing that our meters are accurately measuring and that we're billing accurately. And the remaining third of our district is, we have 29 connections in Spruce Park. Spruce Park is a co-op, and they had already targeted, they were gonna ask us if we would be willing to take the 2 spur lines that feed the park and loop them back. Spurs are undesirable because if you have low use, the water can stagnate, or if you have a blow off or hydrant past the last user, you get water that's sitting there that isn't cycling through. So any chlorine and treatment that happens at the pump house can dissipate. So it's not a preferred design. DES calls it out and says, if you can change this, it's a good thing. So this project would be a joint project, or we might tackle a piece of it and they might tackle a piece of it separately, but it would be all part of one project, which would be to upgrade the mains to a normal size, serving the number of properties that are in there. Right now, they've got a 2-inch line serving 11 houses, and that just isn't good design. So the idea is we loop the two together and run them back out to the main, add a flushing hydrant, and that will one piece of the work. And the other piece of the work is all of the meters that are currently in barrels buried or dug down below frost in the, underneath the skirting of the trailer. I went in to start doing meter replacements, and the first one, Frank didn't call me until he'd spent an hour trying to dig junk out of the barrel to get at the meter to replace it. We got that one running, so we replaced the one, and on the next one, he found the barrel completely full of dirt. It had not been touched in God knows how many years, but the trailer had been there 50 years. So we just called a halt to all the mobile home swap outs at that time. I think we can do a new configuration where we put a thing called a meter pit out by the street. It puts the meter where a normal curb stop would be, but it still has shut off valves, so we can shut it off whenever we need to. But also it gives a location where the meter is not underneath a 50-year-old trailer where someone has to crawl in a skirt and look down over the edge, pull out a bunch of insulation, move whatever else is accumulated. It's just a much better install. And if we can rework that, which I think we can, as part of this grant, that would complete our meter swaps for the remaining meters. And so our whole district at the end of maybe 2027, we might be all new metering equipment. And along the way, we've done all our lead and copper validation of, we know what's leading from our system into every property. And so that'll be a bunch of work that gets done in the process of doing this work, that we have to do no matter what. We're already legally required to get in and identify what the service lines are. So all that is sort of, I expect Shelley Hatfield's helping me with the grant. I expect that to happen in next 30, 60 days, because we have to get on Steve's agenda to be on the warrant. There's a couple of things that need to happen for the town to accept the loan if it in fact gets approved. Let's see.
There also of Stephanie's interest for the park,
yes.
there might be an energy efficiency piece for each of the mobile homes.
Yes, and there is a tie-in, but if nothing else, Shelley said that we would write it as one thing. Different parties could do different things. So anyway,
If there's any negative in it, and I don't mean it as a negative, it's just a fact, the town is on the hook for the grant, for the loan. If it's not forgiven or paid back,
Right.
it's, you know. And so as long as the park performs and does as it is intended to do, the bill gets paid, but we guarantee the money.
And on the plus side of that, John Smith, who is the chair of their co-op, has been pushing since he became chair to have them set aside funds, and they have in fact been setting aside funds for capital improvements. They're doing septic upgrades this year, and they had intended to reach out to the water department, the water district, next year when that work was done, so that they could then, but he thought they had already been thinking that they could support up to $750,000 of a loan to do some of this infrastructure work. So they have capital already that might cover the piece that the grants might not cover. And so it feels like all the chips are on the table. It's just a question of writing the right proposal and going through.
Shelley's
that.
done a bunch.
And Shelley's she used to run the CDFA for Sullivan County. And so she's offered to help us. And so I think it's going to be a neat thing, just not completely.
Another volunteer.
Yeah, actually. Let's see. And I mentioned the water meter replacements ongoing. In other stuff, the grant we got for the Thriving Communities DOT grant, all that paperwork got signed last week. And I've got a meeting on Friday with Mark Goodwin, and we're going to start. The first thing we're going to do is sort of round up all our GIS data and get it in one place, and so that we understand what we've got. And then we'll start looking at a couple of the projects that I've talked to different folks about, I think the one that is most likely to be where we start is the one that Stephanie and Rob DePietro identified as how do we track whether we've checked on somebody during an emergency? And how do we let the rest of the world know that we've checked and what their state is, so that somebody else doesn't double check? And then, let's see, we've got. Oh, I've been a part of the Hub 66 activity, and evaluating the offer that they've made for fiber. Has brought to a head that we're gonna need somebody, one way or another, someone has to support that in terms of keeping that. We have to know who it is that's doing that support, so that if something goes wrong in a town building, we know who to call. And in the past, for our IT work, Mark Cohn has done the work. He's retiring, or at least hanging in there as long as Windows 10 is in use. And Windows 11, he is not supporting. And so we're starting to accumulate an understanding of what we might need in a future IT services. And the Hub 66 piece of their offer, of whether we like one offer over another, is who's going to do that support. If we've got somebody on our side of the street, then fine, we can make it part of the agreement. They're pointing us to other third parties to do that work if we accept their offer of a certain configuration. And so right now, I've reached out to Lakes Region, which is somebody Hub 66 gave us a referral for, as someone who could help us evaluate their offer, but also looking ahead, perhaps providing IT services for us. And then I came across another group, Nesset, and they came recommended by the Overwatch group because they have a security clearance perspective that's makes them one of their approved vendors. So I'm in the process of getting a description from Mark about what our IT world needs. And then if we add the fiber layer on it, we'll add that description, and that will become the basis of a scope of work or an RFP for IT services moving forward. I think that's probably more than enough. We got, Chris Rollins delivered a map today for Gilkey Cemetery. We laid out some new plots there, and anyway, so now we have.
And I think for Gilkey, other than the new plots, which are nice, but more traffic in Gilkey means we've got to address the access point, which is horrible.
Is that off Ladue?
No,
That's
off
off
Stage.
Stage Road.
The one that's, there's no
Up on
sight
the hill.
distance and it's
Oh,
vertical.
right,
Yeah.
right, okay, right.
I'm gonna reach out to Ross Wood, because it's a state maintained road, and see if he can meet me there.
I
And
mean, we own the whole field, so we can
Right.
come in
Yeah,
from somewhere in the middle and be
And
more
that's what
gradual.
exactly. So I've had a couple of ideas, but I figured we find out what they care about.
But if we're gonna sell lots in Gilkey, we should not be
Yes.
trying to fill them. And so it is,
Yes.
it's a bad.
This was driven by a request from someone.
No, I mean, just because the access is so, I mean, 30, right, all the years of being here, I have never driven that. I parked and walked to it because it's the worst access in town.
I biked it
Yeah, we
It's
got,
not that bad.
before my
Well,
e-bike.
no, Gleason is
There you
kind of
go.
hard to beat.
so, but this, I mean,
Gleason, you take your life in your hands.
Well, Gleason,
Or
you
you're
should
not
go.
exhausted.
No,
a
no, go
little
check it.
drive
It's got a
at
new road.
Gleason, because
cemetery trustees just had,
we just had.
it's all redone. You can go in there with your,
No way,
I
really?
have, go check it
I
tomorrow.
liked it, and
You've had a hard
gravel.
week. Go check it tomorrow. You'll be happy.
Yeah, 'cause I haven't felt comfortable since I got my HRV because I didn't think I had the clearance to be able to make it in there without losing my
Get the
exhaust.
pictures I sent?
You're not driving an HRV on Gleason, are you?
No,
sorry.
that's my point.
You look tomorrow, you'll see there's, I sent some pictures around of the new road. It's great.
Oh, okay. No, I did not see them
What is the
today.
cemetery on, Ladue?
Coreyville.
Do Coreyville.
There's a huge tree that's, I keep going
Yes.
up and down there because I'm visiting a family and I've noticed a huge tree in there.
Right,
So-
right, half of it's now down.
Oh, yeah.
One of-
it's
One of
down.
my background tasks was to go flag, so we had, as a trustees, we had, Randy do some limbing at Penniman Cemetery. And basically, it had a lot of overhanging stuff, and one thing that we weren't quite sure of, or I wasn't quite sure of, was how much could he comfortably do, did he want to do? And he went in and did a fair amount that was, so it was good, but there's there are other larger trees in our various cemeteries that we're keeping an eye on, and the one in Coreyville is one of them that if they fall, they'll take out a bunch of stones. They could kill somebody if they happen to be there at the wrong time. But the fact is, we don't have a good answer, except that we should be budgeting for like Pioneer Forestry or Gallagher or some company with a boom truck and the right gear to take some of these larger hazards out. And finding out what Randy and our lawn care group was up for was a piece of understanding, okay, if I'm gonna go put ribbons around things, I don't need to put ribbons around stuff that Randy can take care of. We wanna target on an annual basis, a day or two or something. We have to budget something. At least
We typically have $5,000 to $7,000 to do special
Right.
projects within cemeteries.
Yeah.
And,
And that goes real
right,
fast.
$5,000 of the tree company is
Yeah.
gone in a couple days.
Right.
And so and this year, the project turned out to be Gleason. That's what we did is
Yeah.
Gleason this year.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Bruce, anything for fire?
Um,
to go buy a new truck?
oh, yeah.
Okay, we're close.
Yeah, so I got a check for Steve for Hanover Engine 4. They were hoping to get it into the shop this week. It was close enough. They were gonna do a full service on it. And finish removing engine 4 off the back and the doors, and they're gonna swap our tires off from our engine 1 onto up in the Hanover shop before we even get it. So I know they haven't worked on it yet, because neither Justin or Chris have sent me a picture of it in the shop. Well, they sent me one of it on fire. Yeah, I have to do that. So, yeah, eventually when town of Hanover can get it into their service bay, then we'll have that. And so they don't want to do any paperwork until they think they're done with it.
That's a good check, Bruce. They can take as much time as they need.
I still know where it is. I haven't lost it yet.
Good man, good man.
So we have that. Monday night, we got a Ford Explorer from Walter James. So we met with Cornish Fire and Rescue and we did auto extrication on that. So we spent till 10 o'clock at night. Busting windows and chopping up cars. That's always fun to
You have
do.
fun.
Yeah.
People have figured out how to dispose of their old cars.
See if they-
Yeah, well, no, he took it back, so.
Oh, he took it back?
Yeah, no, he took it back, because he'd already pulled the engine and stuff out, so it's headed to the scrapyard, so.
Well, then,
More than happy to
then I take it back.
transport it.
So,
So that happened, yeah, that's really about it. I have a couple of ERGs. Rob is looking for a couple hazmat books, new ones.
Oh,
I was at a meeting in Windsor last night, they had a whole box of them, so I grabbed a couple. That's really it for the fire department. We've had a couple car accidents and going on. Cornish, we thought we're going to structure fire there. The homeowner put it out. He had a big plastic bucket of just clothes and stuff, and it was too close to the wood stove, and it melted the bucket and it caught it on fire and built. But he kept it at bay with the garden hose, and Windsor got there first or whatever, but that was we were glad to get turned around before we got to that one.
Thank you.
Yep, that's about it.
Stephanie?
Well, that's not all it. We finally
Oh, yeah.
finished our KUA inspections on Monday afternoon.
Well, I'm doing 4 more buildings.
Wow. I did the academic buildings
Friday.
with Bruce, and so he's got other ones to do, but we finally got through that. So that's always a fun task. We had a great community senior luncheon at the Plainfield School last Thursday. We celebrated our veterans, and the kids were great ambassadors, teaching all of our seniors about what they're learning in school, which was fun. We will be headed back to the elementary school in March again for Project Sleuth. The seniors will have a special tour of the Project Sleuth in the classrooms, which will be great.
Don't get a kick out of that.
They do, and it's a great time to talk about the school budget and the town budget. It's the Thursday right before town meeting, so that's great. I just want to give a big shout out to our town. We have just received an abundance of donations and abundance of volunteer hours. A lot of people have just come out and have just, showered us all with gratitude and appreciation for what our community brings to others. And so it's been a really big wraparound hug. So it's been great. So I want to thank all of those volunteers that have spent hours in the food pantry, putting cans away and giving out Pringle chips and, delivering care packages. Eric and Rob did that for me. The SNAP drop-in, mornings went very smoothly. We had 6 people actually show up, which was great, and then I delivered 15 care packages to those that couldn't transport themselves, so huge success. This weekend, Friday and Saturday is our Thanksgiving meal baskets that will be going out through the food pantry. So that's from 9 to 10:30. I also have teamed up with the elementary school and will be delivering 12 care packages to, local families on Monday afternoon. I do have a request, to talk about with Rich. I've brought it to Brad and Steve already, but we have a community member that has between 300 to 500 gallons of heating oil that they are no longer using. And they would like to donate it to those that need heating assistance in our town. So the question is, how do we pump it out of their tank and transport it to a homeowner in need? Is that something Highway could help with, or should I call Irving, Simple Energy, and kind of go through that route?
Probably caution when we wanna know. Yeah, we can get it out.
Okay.
Just got 55-gallon drums, put it in, so
Okay,
we can figure out something for him, sure.
okay, so you and I can talk about scheduling. I can talk with the homeowner that has the oil, and then I will talk with,
Is it in ground or in a house?
that I don't know. I didn't even go that far because I didn't want to get their hopes up that we were gonna accept the amazing donation before I knew I could transport it.
And the only cautionary tale is, when Rich is pumping fuel tanks, he's not doing road work. And we are probably not technically certified to move fuel oil around, right? I mean, it just,
Well, you add to a certain amount.
and so I think
55
it's.
gallons is not a whole lot. to me.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I think it's great, somebody wants to get, there will come a time in the tank when there'll be crud in the bottom. And people won't want that crud, so we'll have to be careful with that, but it is. We are overwhelmed in highway with work, and if we're not doing highway work, or you guys know, and. Like I said, I wish there was an outside contractor that would do it, it would be way easier to just pay them and
Well, I
have them.
haven't called anybody yet,
And
so I'm more than happy to call Simple Energy. I could even call Trina.
I mean, I
at
wonder
Country
if they
Schools.
run a truck, if they have a
I
truck.
don't think any of the fuel companies will touch it.
I
They don't wanna, because they
want
don't know
contaminate
what's
their-
in the tank,
right, they
Yeah,
don't want
okay.
contaminate
and they don't
their
wanna put that in anything they
stuff.
own. And so, I do think, that'll be a challenge. And so really you're left with a contractor that might be willing to do it, and maybe they shouldn't, even if they might be willing.
Do we have a way, Rich, to have the 55-gallon drum in a secondary containment? Like if that drum tips over on a town road, it's us who calls Clean Harbor and picks up the bill.
Correct. Always hope not.
Right, well,
I mean, we don't have to accept the donation either. I mean,
Right.
I just remember at the school when Bill Knight was the facility manager, we had to get rid of all the heating oil at the elementary school. And he called me, he says, give me 10 names. And then magically, those 10 people got 100 gallons each. I don't know how he did it. I mean, I could call Bill Knight and ask him how he did it.
That's
That
not a bad
sounds like a
idea.
good
Um,
idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not extraordinarily difficult, right? You need containers, but
But
it's
you just 55-gallon drum,
Right.
I was thinking, a couple of them,
Yeah.
just, if, I don't know, how much, 300 something gallons is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I really haven't done a lot of investigating on this. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that, one, I had the approval of the board to say, yes, go ahead and do this. So I didn't promise anybody anything. I'm investigating.
Unless you reach out to kind of like we talked about, a lot of these companies like the feel good stories where they're helping out a community in need and it gets
Right.
their name out there. So that may be something that they maybe
actually,
want to do.
yeah, that might be the thing that puts them over the edge.
I would say, unless you have other ideas, is to have Stephanie move forward with investigating ways to do it. It sounds like us doing it is fraught with potential.
Oh, and I think most of the time it goes fine. right? It'll go, I mean, Rich does this kind of stuff, he can move it around, it's just, be aware of the risks. I mean, much better if we could put it in another tank, so, you know, the tank sat in the bottom of a septic tank or something, so that if the barrel tipped over, the oil is contaminated, but all of that is more work, right? You're spending more time getting ready for. Like,
Right, it would go from the person that's donating his house
Right.
to another resident
Pump it
house.
out, say if you pumped it out with the place she's talking about, they go directly to the other place, so it's basically just running across town or wherever it's gonna go.
Right, no, I know, and is there, Bruce, does the hazmat crew, do they have a truck? I mean, a truck with a tank? I mean, are they?
No, I don't think so. They have mostly speedy drying booms for cleanup, but they don't have.
Minnow tanks,
I
right?
know, they don't have double tanks on trucks.
Right, well, or just,
So can we just leave it
That
that
would be
we give
interesting to,
Stephanie
they
permission
must
to
have a list
pursue?
of folks they call to empty a truck that's overturned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harbor.
And then
Freight.
we have all
The
that good conversation.
meeting's in line tomorrow night.
Yeah,
What's
and she can
Yeah.
call Bill.
Because there may be,
That's a great idea, because if there is an accident, they've got to empty the rest of the oil that's in the tanks from
It's very
the
nice.
vehicle that's turned over. Right,
We just,
Yeah, but like.
We just got a
we just had a little confab here on the side and, you go ahead and see what you can figure out and, you know, we support the idea and whatever you come up with,
okay, thank you.
okay?
I'll promise to keep it as safe as possible.
Of course you will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Emergency plan.
That's right. And then the last thing is, please mark your calendars, December 11th will be the KUA holiday celebration luncheon in the student center, starting at 11:15, and you guys are all invited to come kick off the holidays,
11:15,
11:15, yeah,
I'm marking my calendar right.
good.
December what, 11th?
11th,
Oh, that's easy enough to remember.
we'll be in the campus center, and if we're lucky, it'll snow and we'll feel like we're in a snow globe.
remember last
A
year?
lot of fun, yeah,
It was it looked good last
it was
year,
great,
other than the fact that it was snow.
I know, but it did kick off the holidays. And Santa will be arriving.
And he's healthier this year.
Yeah, we'll keep him on his feet, yes. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving,
you.
everybody.
Thanks. I would just like to interject one more thing. I was absolutely, I don't want to self-aggrandize here, but I was absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of food donations that were in the hallway of that church. Unbelievable amount of generosity in our area.
The giving tree at the elementary school.
Yeah,
You
just,
guys saw it firsthand. It was pretty incredible.
just amazing.
We did take photos, yeah. And I will be sending some to Plainfax and sending some to Steve. So, yeah, it was great.
Rich?
Well, I got some good news.
Thank you for
Yeah.
Well,
that.
the dump truck will be arriving on November 25th, the new one, the new mag.
Monday
Oh, bright and shiny.
or Tuesday.
So that-
$250,000 bill,
Yeah,
with $251,000,
there's always a price to everything.
Yeah.
There is.
of which in that case, 70 comes back to the town, roughly 69 or some number like that.
So, that being said anyways,
Rich, did I give you in your folder? I think I put in your folder the directions on how to decommission truck 4.
Not yet, no.
I mean, you'll see it, it's in your,
Was it? I didn't notice it
yeah,
today.
yeah, it's in that folder. They tell you, how
I
to-
was gonna ask that.
they're right,
question
they
too.
tell you how to schedule it and how to, and then they wanna watch you drill the hole.
They do. Nice.
And,
Okay, well, we'll get to
but
that.
you'll see it, it's in your folder.
Okay. So I got all the fire trucks all inspected. I did get a new brake can for the front. I went and got it today, so I'm gonna put a new one on. I think the spring's broken, it acts like it is. Still working on undercoat trucks. We ended up doing last week, 8, 5, 1, and 3. Replaced the coat on High Street and, up on, Aaron, up on top of Methodist Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, here, did that one. And did one on, Croydon Turnpike at the near the end. And I take a couple pistons off the backhoe, brought them to Concord, had them fixed, they were leaking. Drug ads. Get that done. Working on getting the trucks ready for the white stuff, snow. Be working on putting head gears on, stuff like that. Trying to get that done on the colder days. We ended up putting up the flags for Veterans Day, took them down so they wouldn't get ruined. Working on the sanders also, trying to get them ready for winter also.
We'd like to thank Rich for highway went up and chipped the brush. Brad and I went up one morning last
I
week
was
and
gonna say that, yeah.
we were 30 years or so from the town pound. Brad and I went and cut the town pound out. Most people don't even know what the town pound is, but we got some fun publicity with it on Facebook. Some people remember writing book reports for the town pound, but we left a pretty good pile of brush and Rich and the crew went up and chipped it up. Today, did you guys do it today?
Yeah, we did today.
So that was good. And the town pound is visible again, which isn't, the town pound could use a little restoration work of its own, but it's visible again anyway.
What is the,
It needs a
what are
sponsor
you
call.
looking for?
The town pound is a rock square,
Uh-huh.
essentially off of Center Town Road, right where the power line crosses.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
plaque there that tells you what it is and what, and what the plaque is in memory of. But around the pound was, I think, in the close proximity to where the Plainfield Town Hall was located. It was
Yeah.
the center of town and it's
Yeah.
where you went to find your lost sheep and cows.
Oh,
People put them inside
Wow.
in this square.
yeah.
It must have had a wooden gate,
I've
but that's,
never heard,
yeah, no,
I
it's,
think I remember hearing that story.
it's,
Okay.
and so it's in the history book. It was within another decade of not being able to be seen anymore, and now we've given it new life. Somebody else will cut it out next time.
So. Going on to what he just talked to, up to the water tower, we started chipping that back too, so
great.
I have to get that key from you eventually
Yep.
to do the inside.
Perfect.
Since we had it out, we figured we'd go from there to there,
No, great.
and, had to replace the starter in truck 3 and truck 1, because,
Both of them?
oh yeah,
Oh,
both at
joy.
the same time. The 1 and 3 was really amazing to try to change with that plow frame and why. That was fun. And they gotta start crushing, supposedly, they texted me and let me know, probably, and by the end of this week, they'll start crushing, down to pit. That's about it. We've done a ton of other things, but. I get right out.
Right, you did have some bad news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot about the bad news.
We're not getting out of here without talking about the bad news.
They did throw number 3 rod out of it. It went through the side of the block.
Did you get the grading done before it?
We were almost done, everything we had to do, but then of course it rained again, so that messes everything up again.
Rich and I have talked, and I told him there are funds available if you need to rent somebody to come finish the grading.
Yeah.
Do that.
I've had one guy help us out already, he did a nice job on it, so. That's on Trigger Hill.
And so we will be pursuing, too early to talk tonight about options, but Rich is
Already.
getting us some quotes for graders.
New one.
Has Hanover got a leftover one?
When you go to Lawrence, they're back for it.
We are going to want the finance committee to be intimately involved in this
Mhm.
choice. We are going to hear it negatively from the local construction guys who either will not, you can make all kinds of arguments about the grader. At the moment, the town of Plainfield doesn't have one and we need a grader or we need access to a grader. And they are very expensive. They're $400,000.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what you can, somewhere between 3 and 4, you can expect to pay. And
How long do they usually last?
Usually treatment is 25 years, is what
And Rich, you have said, and because I think it is important that we spend a little time talking about the grader, it is
Yeah.
going to be the biggest issue going
It
into the
is.
fall. Because it is not on anybody's radar, right? We've spent the equipment fund money on these 2 new trucks. We will get a big chunk of that money back, but in one case, it'll be the biggest case of money, it'll be more than a year. Because that truck doesn't come in, so we have to have the funds available to buy those 2 trucks when they come in. We just spent, there is in the check batch this week, there is a check for $250,000 to buy a dump truck. We will submit and get our reimbursement of 70 back. But are there places, and I don't know that any of us have enough courage to do this. But are there places that would refurbish that grader, that would put a new motor in it?
You're not gonna get a new motor, you're just gonna get a rebuilt motor every time.
So there's not a diesel motor that would power that grader that could be put in that grader.
Well, if you get the same year, cause that, yeah, years are like an oddball year for some reason.
So that's a maybe.
I tried to get a brand new motor for it.
Yeah.
I've got rebuilt, that's supposed to be a rebuilt one, and that's
Yeah.
what they told me, it looked rebuilt, I got it, had all tags on it. But
Yeah,
the problem is this is the problem, what did they replace?
yeah,
That's what you come into, so do we get another rebuilt motor and I tear it all apart, put all brand new parts inside it? Then you
Well,
got.
but
we've had other people come in and do the work, but I know that's been hard to schedule people. There aren't like a line of people like we had, Alan,
Yeah, for grading, yes,
grading.
yes.
Right, like that's the other option is we just, I mean,
Right,
it's
and I
still
think-
expensive. and-
Right, I think one of the issues for a town our size, and you know, this is where collaboration with Cornish would be great, but I think we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Is that if we could hire somebody to grade in the spring, grade in the fall, take it out of Rich's realm in terms of what he has to worry about doing.
Yeah.
He could just manage the person, not having a grader in the shop after big thunderstorms and stuff. You know, even the best graded roads, I mean,
Right,
it's, so, in as much as we have hated what we have gone through with this used grader. It's cost us $7,000 a year to have it, 7,300 in cash a year. The new one will be $20,000 or $30,000 a year, just because it will last much less. And so it's. I don't know what the easy answer is. I think we want to take a. We are not, with the exception of Rich, who's our road agent, the selectman, the town administrator, we are not particularly grader diesel people. And we have to make a decision on a piece of equipment that will cost the town.
But
so you're saying even if we do rent, contract some of that business out, the town still needs to own a grader.
you know, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, no,
Because when you have mud season, you really need a grader.
well, that's, yeah,
I mean, and you're not gonna have somebody come special during
Right.
mud season.
they're not just gonna come.
And you have
and
mud
get a big-
season sometimes
Oh,
5
yeah.
times in one season.
Yeah,
Well,
mean,
the other thing too is when we've had those terrible floods, like
Right.
Gordon Road, you
Right.
had to literally rebuild and you needed a grader.
And you really need one for
Yeah.
now.
And so I don't know if we have courage enough for another used grader, and where that might come from, and whatnot. It's, there is a state program that we're gonna look into that might be a grant option. It's the same program that requires that the grader have a hole drilled in the side of its motor.
yeah.
It's all
that'd be-
done.
Right, well, the question might be, when did the hole occur? And so there's some issues there that have to be
Quicker than
worked
a
through. But it is, I mean, it's a serious problem.
Yeah.
For the town, is
Yeah.
what we are gonna do about a road grader, because, you know, the finance committee will correctly say you weren't planning to buy a road grader next year, and they will be right. And right now, I mean, we don't have a road grader if we needed one right now, we just don't have it. It's
No,
it's
I
junk.
thought about taking that out and putting, just running off 5 cylinders, I thought all kinds of different things, but. And all reality is, got a hole inside a block like that, and I don't think you're gonna fix that.
Right, so we will have more proposals for you coming, but the select board should be aware that the grader is an issue, and
Big issue.
if you have.
You guys got an old grader in their back field.
Oh, God, you can't believe how I take it from the locals. Geez, Howler, I was up in Addison, Vermont, there's a silo up there with an old grader pack behind it, think town of Plainfield would be interested in that. Get yourself a change. I mean, you know,
I know.
the reality is, the right answer is a new one if we can find a way to afford it. There are lease purchases for the grader, but it means 40 grand a year into the highway budget to pay for it.
As opposed to the 7 we've been doing.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it is, we can lease purchase a cat, so I assume the cases will be less.
Yeah, I
than the
got
gallons for 40
Each one
grand,
of them, I get that.
$42,000 a year.
with,
But you can't, you've gotta keep making the contributions to the capital reserve fund, right? So you put 75,000 away in the capital reserve fund. Maybe you don't have to up the budget a full 40, but you've gotta add some amount of money in there. But a fundamental question is do we warrant having a brand new grader? And is that what we should have? Warranted, everything works, nothing you have to fix on a regular basis. It means it comes with a lot of technology, which we won't be able to touch anyways, right? It'll be computer driven, and all of
All
that.
depends which one you get.
Right, but I think they'll all have, they'll,
You get one with still the handles they call them, or you get one with all the fancy things.
So it sounds like you'll have some proposals.
yeah, no, but it will be,
I get it.
it will be the issue of the budget season will be what to do about the grader and crafting them.
And where that money comes from.
Right, so,
Is that like, does that fall under the whole like clean diesel thing, because we're getting
Right.
rid of this old dump?
right,
truck?
well, there's this additional program that is possible, I just got an email today about it or yesterday, but. I gotta read the details and understand the condition of the grader, and so, you know, there,
It was a good program 2 weeks ago for us.
it may well be. It may well be, but we'll figure it out, and it's, you know, it's not the end of the town of Plainfield, we can,
But-
but I think we need to, you know, at this point. You'll have relatively 3 new trucks, 4 new trucks, when the other one comes in,
Right.
the backhoe's pretty freshened up right now, and
That's 16, so,
what year's the loader?
3 years old, 4 years,
So the loader's good,
4 years old.
and so really, I mean, getting over the grader hump is gonna be, and
That's the most expensive one.
Can't apply for the grant, so we misunderstood, and put the hole in the block ourselves.
we don't know yet, it may not matter, we'll say, but I got my
And
suspicions.
you can't over rev them because they're governed, so.
Yeah.
And what I don't, and I was looking at it, and it looked like to me that the bottom cap, the nuts come out, the bolts come out of the bottom, and it just took the whole rod right off the bottom of the crank, cause there's nothing attached to the crank
No,
at all.
don't do anything halfway.
Right,
Not administrator.
yes, oh god, yes, he has some fun stuff.
Oh,
One of the things that I need to put in the minutes each year for the audit, although this is not final, but it will, I think, suffice for the majority of what the auditors will care about. You guys are the agents to expend on a bunch of different funds, and I'm not gonna read every one of these pages, but I would suggest that our minutes will show that from the expendable funds, trust funds, that the town has, the selectmen have authorized, and we have spent $485,830. In the facilities fund, we have spent, and there'll be detail that anybody can have who wants it. We spent $16,000 on town buildings, which included the fit for the highway garage. We spent about $10,000 working on the equipment shed, but that was, I think, time and money well spent and work that needed to be done. Out of the equipment fund, we bought 2 trucks for a total of $257,000. One was the replacement for the road agent pickup truck, and the other is truck 4, which is a check that's going out this week. The bridge fund, the meter is running, you guys authorized, and I have followed through with Fuson O'Neill, who are now interfacing with FEMA to try to get the monies for that. They have a person on staff who used to work for FEMA. And so she's the lead on kind of driving the Grantham Mountain Road grant to a completion if we can do it. But there's some expenditures there for their services. Out of the transportation fund, we're gonna take $100,000, which went for paving on Bonner and some of River Road. Out of the fire department reserve fund right now, we have taken $50,000, which is for the Hanover truck. Out of the town hall fund, we have taken, the town hall committee had spent somewhere around $27,000, but they have received a bunch of grant money. So the amount of money that comes out of that fund is only about $5,000. And so that's good. The shell fund, which Stephanie directs, those expenditures have spent around $27,500 on assistance to Plainfield folks. The water fund, we've spent $24,000. And the ADA fund, which was mostly the rebuilding of the Plainfield Town Hall ramp, I think it's entirely the rebuilding of the Plainfield Town Hall ramp, was $5,800, of which $4,200 of that was the rebuilding of the handrails. That was the most expensive part of that project. And so while we do this work during the course of the year and we talk about it periodically at our meetings, what we're up to, the auditors like to see a notation in the minutes, and I'll put a copy of this report
where the selectmen have agreed, been involved in formalizing the expenditures from those funds. And the way that works is we spend those funds during the course of the year. And then we ask Jesse Stalker, which I have to do by around December 9th, to go to the trustee of the trust fund accounts and get us the money back, because by the time the auditors come, we've spent $500,000 out of fund balance essentially, so we replenish the money from the reserve funds, and so that will happen. Soon. In terms of we're in that period of time, it's holidays, so we begin to worry about our operating budget, because it's what we do through end of November and December. We are currently, as of today, we have $478,000 to take us to the end of the year. There's always some last minute requests from departments and things for purchases, stuff that they thought they might be able to do and should do. I don't think 478 will be a problem for us. I think we'll be fine. Rich is guaranteed no snow before the 15th of December.
That's awesome.
No salt purchases, nothing of that nature. So that gives us, we are at about 5% of the budget left with that much of the year to go. And last year, 5% over where we would be on a straight line. And last year at this time, we were about 9%. So we're a little tighter this year, but I think we'll make it. Most of the large expenditures are out of the way. We have met with, I've met individually now with just about everybody. Rich and I have to have some more conversations. I got some questions about his department, but I've met with Brad a bunch, and I've met with Chief Gutzfeld about the police department budget. We are, I think on your direction, going to maintain a 3-person department, but in talking to the chief, it's unrealistic that we would have the 3rd person before the end of first quarter. So in a sense, we will budget 3 quarters of a full person, because they will not be here for the first quarter of the year. But we do want, and I stress this in the meetings, and if the right candidate came along, there's no set rules. I mean, we take them tomorrow.
Yeah.
If the right candidate came along, and I think, the chief has a very defined process he wants to follow as to how we're gonna, find that person and make sure that they're a good fit for Plainfield. So we will budget for 3 quarters of the 3rd officer, which is a little fatter than we did last year because we knew we were down to the 1. But we are moving forward on your direction with a police department of 3 full-time officers. The town does not have anywhere near the issue that the school district has, because we have fewer employees and fewer families. The school district has just been absolutely hammered by health insurance rates. I think there is
That's
I think I heard her say $500,000.
Yeah, I think she said 25%.
And health, there will be an increase in, for town benefits as well. Employees are gonna be subject to a higher deductible, because the plan that we currently offer does not exist anymore. I mean, Cigna has said we can't do that plan anymore. And so there will be some additional cost associated to our employees. But generally speaking, right now, the other big unknown in our operating budget, which makes it, I have a draft budget, and I have a budget that we'll put in front of you guys next week. We'll get our next meeting, and then we meet with the finance committee 2 weeks after that. But the biggest unknown right now is how we'll finish up with the trash recycling. The garbage collection program, because there is a function of that contract that is not finite. It depends on the markets, and so the numbers are running close, but they will dictate what we feel like we need to budget for the next year, right? We've got essentially $350,000 into the program, and I think we'll be over that number by $5,000 or $6,000, not 30. But it is a number that is impossible to know. You just have to guess, because they know what they charge us to pick the material up, but we also then get charged for the recycling processing and less the sale. They call it the average cost of recycling because it's a negative, it's not a positive. And so that is a big chunk of our operating budget. But in general, the operating budget that I've developed so far for your consideration, I think had less than $100,000 in new money, like 60, 70,000, but a lot will depend on the
how the last two garbage bills come out, November, December. We are in the town office, so next meeting's a big budget meeting. At the next, the town office, we've now slid into the second phase of the shift over. We are now training, although it's hard to train in the town office when it's open. But we are working with our new vendor for the payroll package, fund accounting, accounts payables up and running. And the payroll package, we can't really start until the new year. But what we can do is mirror the remaining payrolls. So Monday we'll do payroll for real. Tuesday we'll do payroll in a test section on the new section and see if the numbers match and, you know, learn how to do stuff. The company has they're really impressed, continue to be very impressed with MTS. But the company, they've already done 4 payrolls and they've matched them exactly. So it's operator, you know, it'll be us. But it's a world of stuff to learn. Sarah Berman's gonna be the lead on that. She's, you know, she needs some ownership of stuff in the office to feel a part of the team as much, and she, I think, it continues to really be a nice addition. Michelle is very close, as you guys know, she's going back the other way, she'll be part-time as of the first of the year. And so, Sarah will be taking over more of these responsibilities, but that's all going well. And we're, you know, notices are out for town reports and all of that sort of things. And, we have our very defined schedule for the budget. We know that town meeting will start at 1 o'clock on the 14th of March, the business portion of town meeting. And we'll start taking a look at the draft warrant fairly soon. There'll be an article about the highway garage. It sounds like there'll be a couple articles about the CD, you know, the community development block grant. And probably an article about a grader of some kind or another. So that's where I think we are, Rob.
Thank you. Question for Steve?
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on.
You know, so.
What are we moving on to?
No,
Other business?
I think, yeah, you guys can for sure go. And I think we're done.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Rich
you.
will be back here usually by
Right here.
6:30. I've seen, Red is here. Thank you, Rich.
Is there anything else on that?
No,
Any new business to bring